If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us here on this edition of Talk Today. Wow, some days are diamonds and some days are stone. What I say, sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. Well, I'm glad to be in excellent company as we invite you to be a part of our special Talk Today. Right, Miss Susan? So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for joining us. What is your mantra? Better late than never or better never than late? I don't know. Depending on your perspective, is all a matter of perspective, they tell me. They all say reality. It's what is real, what is perceived. Is it all one and the same? Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here again today. Thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. We're going to talk about after the headline news. Get a chance to chat with some of our, wonderful coaches and their track and field athletes in particular. And get a chance to showcase the incredible talent that we have in this country. Whether it's on the field in some athletic endeavor, whether it's in the classroom pursuing some, academic or otherwise. And of course, we have the artistic. And then we just have those that are like, a few of us who we talk for a living. Well, what's better sometimes than talking? It's listening. So we want to hear what you have to say, because if some of you would honestly say publicly what you share, not just privately, not confidentially, but just share casually, this place would not only be better informed, but more of us would probably be a little bit more responsible in our endeavors, maybe a little bit more, proactive, not just preemptive, but more importantly, we'd probably be more positive. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't trials and tribulations and challenges and all other things that sometimes wear on us and wear us down, but how do we respond to it? And who do we draw alongside? And who do we call upon? Who do we, rely on? Well, you want to get to the airport on time, not just to catch the flight, but to make sure that the person that's coming in, that you're there, you know who to go to, right? Other times, boy, if you want a good excuse, you say, I was with him. Boy, that's the best alibi you can have. Again, perspective, reality, perception, all one and the same for some. Hey, 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free with the kind compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Good friend was sharing with me recently some photographs up at Barkers. Saying Barkers, not because I can't, see it, the ERS, but it's because it's the KUS. That's how it should be. Just like I like the idea that we don't call it Reverend Blackman Road, we call it Carbole Road, not to offend the people, but to say what it is. Can you imagine if we were to change the name of the bluff and call it something else? And my friends and family do it. We don't say Cayman, we pronounce it some other way. Well, it's not. I mean, if your name is Robert, right, that's Robert. If you're French and you have Robert, that's fine. If you're George or Jorge, that's fine. But if you Cayman, you Cayman. It's just that simple. Now, if you're not quite sure how to say it, like I got some friends, I need to know how to say their name. And sometimes I say, man, why you just have a simple name like Ebanks? Quick, simple, easy. But they don't. Why? Because their daughter was smart and followed the heart and fell in love with somebody from way up across the seas, and wow, perfect, right? And that's how it was. So he decided that he liked the way it was, and had a child, and she married somebody else, and his last name was, that's how it is. Well, I tell you, man, our people, that's how it rolls. So, say all that to share with you. Where are we in this? Now, I'm trying and wondering how I can get Miss Susan to come into this conversation. Come on, Miss Susan. Share with us that Camelback wisdom, that wonderful knowledge. Come on. You want me to tell your stories? As you've seen her post on social media. But she's given me permission. She said it publicly. And we laugh at it. We laugh at it together. Now, I know many of you know that I think Susan will probably tell you that she's been here longer than Mr. Loxley has been, right? And she will tell you that she still hears idiots' ghosts from time to time. And she will tell you equally that, has every chance that she can, she'll jump the flight and head over to the back. Even if the catboat's going, she'll catch that one first. And as much as she goes, she only wishes that she could go, all the time. I think some of us would say, boy, wouldn't it be nice to be able to commute, not just from Spots or West Bay or even Prospect into town, but from the Brack into Grand Cayman and then head home in the evening. Some people, when you think of that distance and the time, know friends and family who will live places and I'm not talking about leaving West Bay and coming to town or having to live and work in East End and Georgetown. But I'm talking about other countries where the time and the distance by train and otherwise takes them hours and hours. Anyway, Susan came back and she was sharing with us that she went to the Brack and was there and up on the Bluff Road and all the massive pace of development, all 5 miles and 15 roads. And she says she got lost. And now listen to me. For those of us who get over to the Brack, I know, recognizing that sometimes you find 2 cars on the road and you complain about all the traffic. I mean, these people are, Now, as I share, some of you would reflect that it's a positive thing in some respects, the progress and the development. Others would say, wow, look at how things have changed. And not just changed, but changed so rapidly. And sometimes for some, how do we embrace that? And is it something that we can manage so that maybe the change in 5 years or the change in 50 years isn't change that is going to take away, but add to the betterment of the country? Isn't change that's going to displace people, but in fact going to help them, to improve their lot and their lives? Well, your view. 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. Or 1-800-534-8255. Let's quickly pause and take a short break. Remember, 1 o'clock, chance to talk to Speed Athletics Track Club. Coach Dalla Porter will join us, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
Preventing dengue is as simple as preventing mosquito bites. Use a mosquito repellent, wear protective clothing, and stay indoors during early dawn and dusk when mosquitoes are most active. Control the places around you where mosquitoes breed. Remove stagnant water in outdoor and household settings. As a weekly habit, persons should change the water in vases, clear the water in saucers under potted plants, and ensure air conditioner drip trays are free of stagnant water. Outdoor objects capable of holding water should be kept empty and preferably disposed of or put into dry storage if not used. These include open bottles and tins, watering cans, buckets, empty paint tins, and old vehicle tires. Do your part to control the spread of dengue. The dengue virus is an infectious disease transmitted through mosquito bites. Symptoms may come on as early as 4 days or as late as 3 weeks following an infection. There is no vaccine or specific medication to treat dengue. Symptoms of dengue include high fever, headache, pain behind the eyes, joint and muscle pain, and rash. If persons have any of these symptoms, they should go to the nearest health center or hospital. It is advised to drink lots of liquids and avoid medication that contains aspirin. For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. 9498037 or 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261 as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. And it's a Friday. And for some of us, say this very, very carefully and deliberately, but hopefully with a semblance of respect. It's not that we have short attention spans, just that we have so much competing for our attention that we're off to one thing and on to the next, and sometimes we're sort of whizzing through in order to get to the next item on our agenda. We're marking it off the list to get it done without truly stopping to, savor the flavor, enjoy the moment, to understand, appreciate. We're just going through the motions, and it could be with anything. Look at how, for those who watch television, if they didn't have it, then they could record it. Even the football match, you're waiting all season for that final match, and maybe you don't get a chance to sit down with your friends and family and make an afternoon out of it. But you tape it. Well, I guess you digitally record these days. Back in our days, Susan, we would tape it, right? And then now we have a remote and you fast forward to it, catch the little action, and what may have been a 90-minute game that went overtime into penalties and all the celebrations after hours and hours. We probably see it all in 5 minutes. Or we wait to get the highlights, but we record that too because the commentators take at least 2 minutes to talk about it, and we just wanted a quick 2 seconds. Okay, what was the score? I want to say that because I understand time is the most precious, most valuable commodity. So how are we spending it? Are we like some, we got to get from A to B because we got D and E waiting for us, and we got to get down the list to accomplish the things. And sometimes there are little, things that sort of get in the way and delay us, frustrate us, cause us to become aggravated. And sometimes, we become anxious that we're not able to get from here to there because this is going to happen. And we start to, speculate as to what it is. So we strategize, we've made contingency plans and the like. I shared that to ask. A lady was saying that's probably the nature of some of us. Maybe we quantify ourselves as being type A, type B, or whatever else our personalities may be. Maybe we've actually been diagnosed with something. Maybe we have taken personality tests. Maybe we've recognized over time through experience, perhaps training and expertise, that it's a good thing to have a plan. Plan your work and work your plan. But she said, why is it then that if businesses have some sort of a strategic vision and mission, they set about deliberately with their marketing plan, they deliberately and consciously set about to do certain things in order to achieve certain things, why is it then that we don't seem to expect the same of our public authorities, whether they're the elected governments of the day, whether they are the authorities who have authority because of their uniforms, their positions, their sort of role the societies have not only come to expect of them, but have actually, by law, sort of imposed upon them. As an example, a police officer in uniform out on the road holds up her hand, you will stop for whatever conceivable reason. Hopefully, we will be conscious of school crossing guard. We'll probably may pay attention to a pedestrian trying to move across the road, and hopefully that pedestrian won't do that in an unsafe way. I say that as a quick way to share again that unfortunately at or roundabouts, even where there are the newly installed pedestrian crossings, some are not using them but still insist on crossing, but there are a few, some of which have seen fatal accidents. We still see people sort of dancing and darting between the cars, and coming out of the bushes almost to run across multiple lanes of traffic to get from one side to the next, putting not just others, but putting themselves at great risk. So I think we should be a little bit more cautious. But as she was sharing, if we look at our society and we don't expect, nor do we, not demand, and then therefore, the expectation of accountability never comes into play. If a government's saying, okay, we're going to do this thing, and this is the plan of action, and if it's, sort of on the way, hopefully there's sufficient flexibility in the plan, sufficient aptitude in the people who are involved in the planning and execution, and certain, as she says, sufficient humility and honesty in the people who are being affected or who are effecting the plan to say, okay, we need to do this or not do that, or not do that this time or in this way. Whether that's significant capital works, whether it's a new policy relative to something that the government wants to do, education, for health, maybe to manage traffic for an interim period. Maybe it's a new system that is going to assess people for some service or otherwise, some qualifying criteria. And she shared, we don't seem to expect that. But when we go into, and her example, into a bank, and the bank says, oh, today our new policy is, in order for you to withdraw your money, you need to do this. Well, you were there that morning at the bank, speaking to the same teller who spoke to the same manager, asking for the same thing, and you got it. Now you're back a couple hours later, and all of a sudden, that thing that you were able to do a few hours prior, you can't do it now because, in the intervening hours, their policies change. And you say, okay, no problem. You can hold my money and I'll come back at some point and get it. Few of us will, kick and scream and rant and rave. But if it's the government now doing something, we're up in arms, we're protesting. Maybe we should. But why not with the private sector? Just like with the private sector, when we say, okay, this is what they're going to do in order to achieve this outcome, with our government, oh, well, that's okay. That's government. I can expect that. No. Why? All right. With that, maybe a good way to save myself from further trouble. Who knows? But certainly, very excited and invite you to join us after our news break to be able to chance to highlight some of the wonderful, positive things that are happening in our society. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access to information. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The annual celebration of K-Fest, the Cayman Islands National Festival of Arts, returns next month. Organizers are gearing up for 3 signature K-Fest events that showcase the islands' cultural diversity and artistic talent, including the anchor event Red Sky at Night. Auditions for Red Sky are Saturday at the Harkwell Theatre from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. for dance, drama, stand-up, poetry, storytelling, acrobatics, and any other talents. Auditions will be held for music only on Sunday, January 19th from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, as relations between the U.S. and South Korea fray, the American ambassador to the country has brushed off criticism of an increasingly hairy matter, his mustache. Harry Harris, a retired Navy admiral, has ruffled feathers in South Korea since becoming U.S. ambassador in 2018, but recently it's his facial hair that left South Koreans bristling. And Ajinomoto, a Japanese company, is not a household name in the West, but a product it makes, monosodium glutamate, is notorious. Commonly referred to as MSG, the flavoring agent conjures up images of greasy meals followed by headaches. Now, Ajinomoto has launched a campaign to recover MSG's reputation by taking on an unlikely target, Merriam-Webster's dictionary. The publisher is being pressed to change Chinese restaurant syndrome. Ajinomoto says the dictionary entry is racist, unscientific, and unfairly vilifies MSG. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. And I have two fine, excellent, true examples of gentlemen who constantly, not just encourage, but like many, put themselves directly in the gap in order to assist, to nurture, to support, to ensure that our young people in particular, see positive role models and to see that through their efforts and sacrifice, they can indeed enjoy great success. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us, and I'm grateful that you're willing to allow me to kind of, come on, man, come in and tell us, because so much good happens here and we don't hear about it, right? Yeah. So perhaps, Mr. Porter, start with you first, man. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, put that mic, pretend that that's, there you go, bro. No, I say this seriously. I will watch from a distance. I watch the encouragement in every aspect. The youngsters out there giving their all, and almost like a daily basis, but certainly week to week, you see the improvement. And I would like at some point to talk about not just about Saturday gone, but where we come to now, and then where we're going to later on. But so on, right? Okay, so share with us first off, Speed Athletics Track Club.
So we're Speed Athletics Track Club. We just put our team together this past summer. We are reaching out to try to start a whole new program here in the light of making some changes is how the Athletics Association and stuff have been going here in the recent years. We just think that it's a little time for a step up. So we're trying to bring something new to the table here.
You know what? I like when teams come to the table, but especially if they got a little turtle meat or cassava cake, that's even better. But in a sense, that's what I'm seeing with you guys. It's not just everything. It's not just the whole thing. There's a lot of effort. And I say cassava cake and turtle meat because, relatively speaking, once you know what to do, it's not difficult to prepare it. But it takes a lot of love to make it, presentable, to enjoy. Now, boy, Coach Adolphus, I got struggled from yesterday to tomorrow with the first thing. So help me out. Introduce yourself properly.
Good evening. My name is Raimish Adolphus.
I will get it by tomorrow.
I'm a pass athlete at the Cayman Islands, 100 meter, 200 meter, 4x1. Mm-hmm. Like Mr. Porter said, from August, June, we took on a group of kids, teach them discipline, how to work as a family to be better grounded. And, we've been working day in, day out, 6 days a week, only Sunday off. We started on Public Beach, Saturday mornings, getting up, teaching the kids, this is what it takes to run with the best, to be the best, and to perform against the best. It's a lot of hard work, to me, seeing athletes in Jamaica running so fast, performing so fast. Here, we're barely topping the ranks of where we could be at. The potential that we have is amazing. We're there with them, but we just have to keep on pushing it, keep on fighting. So that's what we're teaching these athletes now.
At some point in time, I may ask, and I may opt not to ask of you just yet, now and here, because one, I don't want to be motivated on people to miss it, and I don't want to take away. But this is the premise. I keep asking myself, what is the problem? Is it that we as a people don't have sufficient pride and respect for us as a people? Right? Is it that we as a people, all of us, public and private sector, parents and everybody else, not giving enough to invest? And I say that because I look at you guys, just as an example. I see Miss Pat and others, for example. I see so many people just so heavily invested in our young people. I don't know, and I'll ask you, I don't know whether you see it every day, but for me, just from, looking through the chain link fences and just from, a quarter mile away even, day in, day out, I can see the improvement. I can see not just the speed, but I can see the persistence of their attitude, their smile, their confidence. Now, you see them every day, you probably see it, but I'm telling you, man, it's evident, and that's a beautiful thing. You don't need to be like me and wait for a year before you see some muscle development. You guys have seen it, from one afternoon to the next, right? All right, let's talk about that notion of service and sacrifice. You're in there 6 days a week, 6 days shall I labor, 7 day I rest, right?
That's right.
It's important in many ways in machinery, but you're giving your all, right? You shared that just at the end of the summer, you got started formally. You've organized yourself as an NPO, which shows the seriousness, the sincerity, and the commitment to making this thing legit. But tell us more. I mean, as an athlete, Ramesh, now as a coach, what does it take to get to that level of being the best of the best?
Well, it takes a lot of hard work, man. Training with Usain Bolt, Ewan Blake, Warren Weir, being in that rank with them, waking up every morning, going to training twice a day, being in the same gym room, knowing what they do, the same workouts, what it takes, pushing yourself to the limit. I mean, it's like either you train as hard as you can, till your last breath, till the ambulance come for you, or you're gonna go home, just park it up and go back home. Yeah.
So if you can't bark with a big dog, stay off the porch.
No, you can't.
Okay. Mr. Porter, from that perspective, there are some of us who appreciate this. Is not about no pain, no gain. It's none of that. Because if you do it properly, you won't have that pain. You'll just feel the body being stretched, extended, challenged, and then tomorrow you come back and you do it over again and you improve, right? But in business, we talk about knowledge transference. We talk about benchmarking. We talk about, different little things in business because we find ways to improve our business by modeling the behaviors of other businesses. Now, the coach just shared, if we allow our people to train with other athletes regionally or, globally, we should get better.
Correct.
All right. Now, from your perspective?
From my perspective, it's just a matter of hunger. These, for me, it's what I've noticed. Over the couple of years of being involved here with the association, the different track clubs. It's kind of we go through the motion. Everybody's out there because they enjoy the sport, but they're not really fighting for anything. So we're trying to bring them something to the table that gives them something to motivate for whether it's trying to make it to the Olympics, trying to make it to college, is it only that you want to make the national team for CRIFTA? It's something that affect, but we got to give them that hunger. We got to give them that desire, something to fight, and teach them that, this isn't just now, this is everything you do in life.
Right.
And that's what the kids are starting to go up and they're starting to appreciate. And that's why they're starting to give us a lot more effort and fight out there, because they see the big picture down the road that, if I just go through motion, I'm gonna be where I've been this whole entire time. Okay. But if I push it past that barrier that has me stumped, and I fight to knock down that wall, all of a sudden I'm gonna get that progression. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna move, and then all of a sudden all the good things fall in place.
All right. Again, I'll guide you because from what you just shared, I've been thinking about today's discussion and my perception. Certainly, I'll take. Not just guidance from you, but certainly with great deference, ask for it, because it's not just about what we do on the field or in the gym or wherever. You just said it's about life. It's about that hunger for success, but to share the success so it's celebrated nationally. we want to definitely talk about some of the success that we saw on Saturday, but equally the potential for the Olympics. Before we get there, let me ask: is it then that in this process of recognizing the hunger, some of us have it, and some of us have been told, "Oh, you're too ambitious," in a very derogatory way? Now, Mr. Adolphus, I like the smile. Chuckle with us, but tell us what the mind is saying. Share with us, man. Verbalize that thought.
No, like I've been there. That's a everyday task.
Yeah, man.
Knowing that you have a lot of people that say that you can't get there.
Yeah.
You know, you thinking it, but it's not possible. But I just say just sit back and watch. You know, that's my philosophy. Just sit back and just watch. You know, and just.
What does Delman and guy say? Watch me do it.
Just watch me work.
All right, but there are those, right? And I think we can think from our own personal experiences. Maybe we were at university and we were interacting with people from different nations. Maybe they were from the same country or state that we were at, wherever, but they were from the less affluent areas. Let's just put it that way, right?
Yes.
And we say, oh yeah, that's where they are. But is it? So that hunger that we see in some people, and the fact that here, are we now somehow deliberately or very unfortunately share with our people that you don't have to worry about nothing. You know, everything is good. Now, ability is one thing, but ambition is something else, right?
Yeah, it's hard to instill it in them, but I don't know. It's difficult to explain because each kid's different. It's you know, the way we have to approach it, the situations that we've dealt with even in a few months is, you know, we've had a couple of kids that they see the vision, they see the dream, and they're all in 100%. And we got a couple of them that say it, but then they don't act upon it. So we got to spend a little more time with those children and trying to get them to see the big picture at the end of the day. And it's got its ups and downs challenges.
Right. Share with the public, what is that vision? What is that dream?
Our dream as the coaches is to see these kids achieve everything possible that they've come to us and say they wanted to. At the beginning of the season, Coach here, Ramesh, had all the kids write down on a piece of paper exactly what they wanted. You know, whether it was making a national select team, whether it was just making personal best on the events that they participate in. It was different things like that. So we're kind of holding them accountable for that. And then we're trying to push it past that. And the majority of them all have come to us saying that they want to go to college. So we're trying to do a lot of things to help make that possible.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea of visualize that dream, you know. Some of us, for whatever it is that we're doing, whatever program we're through, some would say, you know, take a picture and put it up there, write it down.
Exactly.
Put it somewhere where it's that thing you see maybe the first in the morning or in the evenings, right? So you visualize it, you own it, you claim it, you hunger for it. Now,
like every morning I have like this motivation quote and speeches that I listen to every morning. Because I get up like about 4:40 just to go to the gym, and you know, like it's not like everyone can't get up at that time. You know, it's like who really want to go out there and make a difference of their life. You know, and yeah, just like it just that pain and sacrifice that we face every day. You know, just to.
Do you think then, and not necessarily you may want to weigh in on it, but I'll ask the question, and for those who listen, especially the parents, especially all of us who live and call this home. Maybe it's a question that we should be asking ourselves. Is it that we don't feel connected to the place for whatever reason, you know, and we don't have that sense of national identity and national pride? You know, you look at Olympics, for instance, and you watch the people, that gold medalist and that silver medalist and, you know, the bronze medalist. Man, the tears in their eyes is the same pride, you know. Doesn't matter what that thing around their neck says, if it's gold, silver, or whatever else, right? But even the people that don't medal, you look at them, you just observe them sometimes. The fact that they get to represent their country, for them, I mean, that's an honor. Is it the same for us here?
I think with some athletes, I want to say with some athletes, yes, because we've seen it. You know, even in this past CRIFTA that we had here at home, there are a few that it's just more just to say that I was there. So they're still learning, you know, the value of it all, and that is something that I don't know how you really teach it until they experience.
Okay. Well, let me ask then, is it teaching or is it modeling? And again, this could be offensive, it's not intended, but I believe that leadership is important, right? So the behavior of the child is probably what the child sees in the household. I could be wrong, but that could be the behavior of the society is what the society sees in its leadership. Political, religious, business, whatever is leadership. So is it then that we as the organizers, the leaders, the whatever it is, you know, the chef de mission that goes out to the Olympics, the head of the association, if that person or that executive isn't embodying that pride and say, wow, you know, I'm not just the president because nobody else wanted to do it. I'm not just the member because nobody else wanted to do it. I am this, and look at the awesome responsibility. Maybe we just, jeez, this don't mean nothing. And then all of a sudden, the athletes, the spectators, the sponsors, the whatever say, oh, that don't mean nothing either. Is that part of our problem? And like I said, that could be offending to some people. It's not meant to be, but
it's not being offended. Like, in every group that we face out there, government, every small group like track and field, you know, you have that one that everyone want to model to and look up to. And with me, with David Hamill, Carl, Mr. Porter, like the athletes see something different in us, see that we pushing them to the full potential because we see what no one else seeing them, you know, and they're starting to believe. Like I have athletes talking to me like, oh, coach, I want to run 10.5, I want to run 10.6. I say, but you know what it takes to run 10.6, 10.5? It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of days that you're going to be saying, you know what, I'm not coming training today, I'm going to give up. But I just talk to them and be like, look, I see you there, man. I see you making gold medal at CRIFTA. I see you making Olympics. Let's go. I push Terrell Coffey. I push almost all of my athletes. Neil, Bradley, Cameron. I push, trust me, I be pushing them every day, day in and day out. Before we go sleep, I be like, look, guys, rest. Let's go. Tomorrow's the next day. Let's do it.
All right. When you come back, right, we'll take a break, Ms. Susan. Yes, gents, I pay attention to her because I'm as motivated and as encouraged and enthused by what you're sharing, and certainly maybe I can mention Mr. Morgan in a second because it's another inspiration. But when we come back, let's talk about that notion that it is us who got to imbue the sense of pride and expectation, but willing to do what I see you guys doing, and thankfully a few others draw alongside.
Yes.
All right, well, listen, if you're listening and if you want to go into this weekend on a high, natural high, feeling like the world is yours and you're there to make the best contribution, well, join us after the break. Stay tuned.
This is the NDC. We're calling on all volunteers to assist us in the administration of the Cayman Islands Student Drug Use Survey.
The survey tracks and monitors over time high-risk behaviors, trends, mental health, and bullying, among other things. This allows us to develop and implement evidence-based prevention programs in our schools and communities.
To volunteer, please call 949-9000 or email iMcLean@ndc.ky by January 24th.
Volunteers must be 18 years or older, can give approximately 1 hour of their time, and willing to attend a brief 30-minute training.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on ensuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
ValueMed Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop ValueMed for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Bodentown. Visit ValueMed, more than just a pharmacy.
I've got some beautiful clothes.
The management and staff of Puritan Cleaners would like to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and prosperous 2020. Puritan Cleaners provides you with all your laundry and dry cleaning needs for over 60 years. Free pickup and delivery. 3 convenient locations to serve you. Savannah Countryside, 946-1884. Elgin Avenue by Off the Peg, 949-2452. Eastern Avenue drive-through, rain or shine, 949-7104.
Check us online at www.puritan.ky.
Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good. The 8:12 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center. Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center is your one-stop shop for all of your sewing and alterations, fabrics, household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customercare@superstitch.com.ky. Super Stitch, located 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road, still offering the best prices in town.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. The name says it all. Speed Athletics Track Club and Coach Adolphus and Mr. Porter. Gents, thanks very much for joining us. And I know that in your lives, your regular scheduled days, with a question, you have a lot of commitments and obligations. But if you don't feel, too much, like I'm celebrating you too publicly, thank you very much. Just as a parent, as a casual observer, now I don't have any biological horse in this race, as it were. But I tell you what, all those children, in a sense, are mine, simply because they're in the same society and my actions affect them. But if I do my calculations correctly, and Ms. Susan put it in the spreadsheet so we put it right, they're younger than us. Their action is going to affect us.
Correct.
So if they're good and healthy and all the good things, man, I might have a good future. And I say that seriously because I think that's where we're dropping the ball. We don't understand what it takes to invest in them. Now, from that perspective, certainly it's great to get out there and do something, but like anybody, if you go to work after the end of the day, the week, the month, you kind of want a paycheck. You guys seen the paychecks in terms of the successes? You might see the money, but you've seen the successes on the meets and the performances and the like.
The paycheck that we've seen is just the personal growth so far. I mean, this last week was just the first meet. It was just an opener. So for it to translate on the track itself, they most of the kids performed in what they call the odd events. So it's not the events that they would be running to try to make the national teams and that. So I mean, we saw progress. But the thing we see the most in the daily practices and stuff is the effort level changes. It increases. We got some kids, and we all know that all over, right? Some kids have more troubles than others, right? And to get them to separate from that, we got kids that didn't care about school now, but now they're starting to understand the importance. Okay. So grades are coming up. So to see in the big vision, we had a couple athletes come to him, to Ramesh here over the weekend after they ran their events. We had 2 girls that are throwers, never run in their life. And here we are, they're running 150 meters, and they were nervous as could be to get in, but when they came back, their first thing they came to the coach is, Coach, we're ready to start taking this serious and train.
Ready to work. I like, you ready to work? Let's go.
So for them to come and directly say that to us, we know that growth process has happened. So that's rewarding as can be to us to know that we are getting through.
Well, as I listen to that, immediately a couple of things come to mind. The fact that if we are able to give the athletes, the students, or if they don't mind me calling them, our children, the opportunity, they can come out, hopefully, on home soil, amongst friendly and familiar faces, to sort of get, introduced to things and become comfortable. as opposed to being on the world stage and all of a sudden you're in a stadium filled with more people than you got back home. That can be daunting, intimidating, kind of making you feel, oh boy. Now, once we sort of hone that. But secondly, what is it that we hear in church? Well, I haven't been to church in so long. They still have church here in this kid. That should be it. Iron sharpens iron, right? A rising tide floats all ships. So if we draw alongside, we come together, we get better. The competition against other track clubs, against their peers in their schools, may make them better. And then eventually we invite the region and then, the globe, and we go there, they come here. We get better.
Yes.
Not true?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How do we do that? Because the paycheck that I talked about earlier wasn't just, thankfully, what you see it as, the successes daily, weekly, not just at the meets, but at the, commitment on the track as well as in the classroom. But at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm about to say, but if I go into the supermarket and go to the check counter and the cashier is as polite as she can be, but if I don't present something that I can pay for it, the grocery's going to stay there. I mean, I don't know any other how someone can pay for it. So are we investing sufficiently people in our resources in everything else? What do you think, Coach Adolphus?
Like from the beginning when we started, me, Mr. Porter, and David Hamill, we came with this plan to say, okay, when they talk about track and field in the Cayman Islands, they're gonna talk about speed athletics. That's a plan that we had. Right now we have a kid from India want to come down and train with us because he see the potential just by posting videos on Instagram, on Facebook. He see the potential. He say, "Yo, I want to come." He was talking with Mr. Porter.
I didn't realize you speak Hindi.
No. Luckily, he speaks pretty good English.
I just kidding.
Yeah, luckily he speaks pretty good English. But he's been extremely motivated. He's actually messaging me and calling me day and night, every single day, trying to work out the logistics of it all. I've been going back and forth with some officials with the Border Control and Immigration to make sure that we got all our ducks in a row as well, and then making sure that he, communicates with the UK Embassy, gets all his ducks in a row, and then when we bring him here, we're going to set out to do what he wants to do. He wants to break records back in India, so we're going to help him achieve that goal and then help eventually put us bigger on the map, I'm hoping.
But that's the thing, you see, and there are probably all sorts of politics that doesn't really matter to me. But I remember what seems like 1,000 years ago, a swim coach, David Kelshammer. He was here, he was talking, and there was a little thing in his eye, about what we could and should have and would have known. Again, I don't profess to know, I really, respectfully, it doesn't really matter to me. But if we were able and are able to harness what you were sharing, bring people, athletes and coaches and managers and all sorts of things to give us input, we can help them and then we can benefit. It's so easy. Cayman is such a beautiful place. Your football team, whether you're college or you're professional, good little layover, spend a couple of weeks,
exactly,
and we can learn. If we're willing to invest together to benefit, how do we get there? Because India, this is India, not India and West Bay. This is a good ways away, right?
Yeah, this is a bit away.
We got closer places, but it just shows you that people are willing, people are aware, and all we need to do is, how do we build that bridge? Why is that bridge not being built? Come on, Mr. Dolphus. We know you know it all, man. That's cool.
I know it, but sometimes I don't want to say
it. You know what? I respect that. You share as you wish, because I think that's even me sometimes, right? That's the problem we have. And everybody knows it, but nobody's willing. Can I just share with you? So I was talking to a lady earlier, and she said, man, if we would have, and I say this publicly, if we would have the public conversation that we have casually, we can culture language in a certain way. Wouldn't we be that much better? We don't know.
That's the thing. We would talk amongst each other, but publicly we won't, because we're so in our comfort zone that if we step out of it, it's like everyone gonna be like, oh, so who's that? So who's that? You remember the person who was fighting for the gas? To drop the gas? You don't hear anyone fighting for no gas anymore, because he's in that comfort zone now. So
is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, but this is why I tell people, you hang around young people, you are grounded, you become much more humble, and you understand and appreciate the truth constantly. Because what they say, they don't skin up. Now, I don't pretend to learn the language, right? but they keep you real. And unfortunately, many of us, the reality is that we have responsibilities, the mortgage, the scholarships, whatever. I understand that. But at the end of the day, man, if we're not real and true, I can tell myself that I'm tall and handsome, and the mirror tells me otherwise. So, at no point, thankfully I got Miss Susan to remind me that, you're not that bad looking. So, all right, we have a break to take, Miss Susan, or we can keep going? Got a break to take? Chance to see that? Telepathically, yeah. Just kidding. Couple more minutes, you guys share with us. Tell us about, when we come back, how it started the event, and if you're comfortable, where, we're hoping to go. All right. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
National Heroes Day celebrations is Monday, 27th of January.
At this year's event, we will be celebrating our first written constitution, the people who pioneered its establishment, and the first 4 women who bravely stood in the 1959 general election.
Join us as we reflect on our community's journey to the modern Cayman Islands. There will also be a special ceremony to honor and memorialize our national heroes.
Come and join the celebration on Monday, 27th of January at 9 a.m. at Hero Square, downtown Georgetown. Refreshments will follow the celebrations.
All are invited to celebrate Cayman,
our history,
our heritage,
and National Heroes Day.
For more information, contact national events at gov.ky or 244-3613.
I cannot be forget.
Spring clean your kilts and fluff your sporn and practice the gay Gordons. The Burn Supper is coming.
On January the 24th, Jasmine is hosting its 5th annual Burn Supper at the Grand Ole House. Starting at 6:30, this is an evening not to be missed. Your ticket of $150 includes a 4-course dinner, wine, whiskey, and lots of Scottish dancing. Thanks to our sponsors Artec, RSM, Butterfield, and Macallan. For more information and to reserve your tickets this year to our Burn Supper, please call 945-7447 or email info@jasmine.ky. All proceeds benefit Jasmine Palliative and Hospice Care Services.
We'll see you lads and lassies on the dance floor.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And there's nothing wrong with being serious. Nothing wrong with recognizing that there are at times challenges. Some would us say trials and tribulations. But man, if you're not positive and endeavor to be productive, you may see life as being this thing that there is no good, no beauty. Well, I'm glad to know to be surrounded by excellent people who are not just true example, but constantly they persist to make it better. Mr. Porter, Mr. Adolphus, thanks very much. And as you're part of the Speed Athletics Track Club, thanks if you would accept it for the effort. And thankfully, there are a couple of others who do well. Hopefully she doesn't mind. We all know Miss Pat. Miss Pat there, Miss Pat Ben, she's in the classroom. She's going to try. She's nurturing. So there are increasingly not just the older heads who've gone before, and maybe we take a page from their books. There are guys like you who are, well, except me, Mr. Porter, who are younger than us, right? Who are picking up the mantle. Now, as I ask you about the successes of Saturday, what you saw, and the vision, maybe the expectations going forward, perhaps I could ask at some point equally, what can we do as a society, as parents who have children that may want to get involved, as just regular adults, responsible adults who may want to volunteer, as potential partners? Maybe we want to sponsor, maybe we want to help out, cash or kind. I think we all have a role to play. Some of us can play a bigger, greater role than others. And it's not just by the check that we write, it's by the time that we devote. So in those three endeavors, share with us.
You want to take this?
Oh, so you give it to the not only handsome but the smart one too? Okay, Mr. Porter.
Sending it back to me, right? All right. Well, for the most part, I mean, for me, for everybody to do their part, it's just literally just get involved. Don't sit back and pass the children off, you know, as a way to get rid of them to go do whatever you got to do, right? And unfortunately, we have seen that in certain cases, especially in the past years. We've tried to change that philosophy a little bit with our parents, you know, and we've had a couple meetings with them already, and we're pushing, you know, to try to get some more involvement in with them. You know, we're taking it to, you know, a next level as far as like the requests that we're asking. We're putting them out there in the stands. We're making them wear team shirts as well. You know, calling up friends, asking friends to come, and that isn't just so much for our club alone. It's for the entire association, because what we've noticed is over the years, Cayman has a ton of talent, and not just athletics, but, you know, football, basketball, all that, right? Everything. But if you really go to these events, you don't see a whole lot of people out there. like
see faces, huh?
You don't, and like unless it's some major production like what Crifton was here last year, or you know, the bunch of the other countries coming over to play in the football tournaments and that, then you see a crowd, right? But it's even for us at Crifton, if we really paid attention, it wasn't really a whole lot of Cayman out there. It was a lot of, you know, everyone here from Jamaica not coming out to support both teams, Cayman, and because they live here, right? And we want to change that, because the association needs it, you know, to help grow. We need it for our children to grow. Like, I don't know, it's...
Well, okay, I was thinking of earlier and sort of thinking of our discussion, and I got kind of caught up with some other things, but I didn't get to really give this my full sort of consideration, because of, again, life happens and you get frustrated with things that are not working, all right? But I was thinking earlier, and you reminded me, but you said football, and then you talk about track and field and other things. So it isn't just that we're not, well, I'm not a fan of this thing, so if it's not basketball, I'm not paying attention. If it's not swimming, it's everything. We're not participating, right? Now, Mr. Carl Morgan, for instance, right? Both him and his brother, right?
Very disciplined.
Discipline.
Very disciplined.
I mean, no, granted, there are other, I guess, his colleagues, his competitors from here. But when I see him and his brother both, the amazing sort of dedication.
Of course, man.
Yeah, just like yourself as well. But what is it that makes people like that and others? Well, what is it? I mean, is it the water, the coconut trees that they on in a day? Is there a fountain that we can go to and dip in?
Well, with them, it just putting God first.
Amen, brother.
Putting God first
makes a difference, huh? A spiritual.
Because we think as people we could do it on our own, but we can't.
Yeah.
You know, everybody want to be self-made, but.
All right. You share that, and I think for some of us we hear that, and for some strange reason, especially in Cayman, we pull back. Right. It's not to offend, it's just to realize that you have to have a footing, you have to be grounded, you have to have something that motivates and propels you to a certain point. And it's not religion, it's not pomp and circumstance and show, it's a sincere commitment to this thing, right? But Mr. Dolphus, with that though, I think if he doesn't mind, you know, we look at boxing. Maybe he might want me to call his name, but you know, you see the fellow in the ring, and you watch him in the days, and he shared publicly some of the missteps, and you watch him now saying, hey, you know what, let me find my path. It is for us now to draw alongside, because there by the grace of God could be us, or worse, he could be your children, right? And yet he's just recently returned, had a very successful sort of, you know, bout. He's progressing well. Now, are we going to help him on that path, or are we going to punish him for an unfortunate, you know, occurrence? And I keep wondering, are we willing to give our people the opportunities, or are we going to hinder them simply because, you know what, I didn't like his grandfather's dog that tore up my roses, or whatever it was, because we're that sometimes that foolish and that petty. What is it, Mr. Porter? I mean, how do we get to a point where do we have that sense of national pride and commitment, that sense of service and sacrifice, so that we can see the success of the track star, but as well, as the nation?
It's like the $1 million question.
Come on, man. Your daughter told me you knew it all. Nah, it's teasing.
I don't really know how to answer that one. I mean, to be honest, we're all wired and programmed differently on how we think, and the way we perform our dedication to something is different, and how we all tap into it. How do we get the entire public to be able to tap into that? I don't know, but we're working on trying to figure that out.
Okay, so let me ask something, and I'll go on the premise that I'm talking amongst friends. We're just having the conversation. It just happens that we're on the radio. So with the lady's permission, I'll share it as best I can, that perspective. So we were chatting, and she said, one of the biggest problems is that time. We don't have time. We're not making time to do
I think that's more the key right there. We're not making time.
Yeah.
We all have time. It's just whether or not we choose to use it accordingly. Like, we can always find excuses. It's the same with just, everyday health of going to the gym and working out. We all need to do it. We all need to take care of our body. Our body is our temple. But at the same time, like, we sit there and make up this reason, that reason why we can't do it, all because at the end of the day, it's the mentality of, well, it's going to be hard work that I've already worked all day at work. I don't want to do any more hard work. Well,
here's what she shared, right? And like I said, with her consent, I certainly can't say it with the same eloquence. Certainly, I don't think I have the same level of conviction. But she said, we've all had the same amount of seconds, the same amount of time, no matter what. But for some reason, we're so busy now. We may say the enemy keeps us busy, we're distracted. We may say, it's the government of the day doing things. We get a chance to think of anything because we find an excuse for whatever it is, right? And there's some truth in all of it. But she shared that we are genuinely trying to make ends meet, whatever it is. If we are at the top of the salary scale in the organization, we've got to make sure everything's functioning so that we can get our bonuses, so that people can get paid, so the profits can be there. So we're busy, and we're working, and we're no longer socializing. So as a result, we don't make time, or we don't seem to have time to be able to think, to be sufficiently pensive so that we can maybe engage in a little bit of philosophical discussion. Maybe we can step aside and have a little quiet time to meditate, to pray, to whichever. We're so busy, we're constantly that hamster on the wheel, that we no longer see it. So we don't go to the gym, whatever that is for us. We don't sit by the water on the beach and hear the waves lapping on the shores. We don't taste the salt air. We don't see the sunset, watch the moon. We don't see any of that.
We don't take a drive up to East End.
Now you see that, man. Now you going, or one of the best places, right?
Exactly.
So where then in that quality of life and that measured success are we in this small community? I mean, our friends who are from other places, what's this now? Almost February. We all got a couple of friends up somewhere where it's really, really cold and it's going to get colder. And they're like, you want to exchange houses? I'll come down and keep you company, because they know what they're going to face in short order. But we're complaining, gee, boy, it's hot.
Yeah, hot.
Why is it that we're not appreciating what we have? And why is it that we, who are leaders, are not doing more to serve, but instead we're trying to lord it over people? Now, that one's for you, Mr. Adolphus. Carefully.
It's not that we don't appreciate what we have, like we just take it for granted.
Okay.
Because we have so much, and we still complain that we don't have any. Yeah, so like.
But the scripture tells us, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. That's like you go to a field and say, "Field, give me a crop."
Yeah.
But the field gonna say, "Who's this person? Come to me." Want a crop but don't have no seed.
Yeah.
You got to plant the seed and make the crop grow.
And you got to tend to the field, plow it.
Tend to it daily.
See, that's why I'm glad for my brothers, because man, they share, the harvest with me, and but we're not even willing to do that anymore.
We want see here.
Yeah.
See here.
We go to the supermarket in the refrigerator section, pop it out, and pop it in the microwave, then complain that it's not healthy. Wow, amazing, huh? All right. I know for some, as we talk about athletics, as we talk about sport, some was quick to get it that it's not just a metaphor. It's actually indicative of life, as you shared immediately. This isn't just success on the field. It's after. All right, another little quick break to take. When we come back, share with us. I mean, let us as a people understand and appreciate that this isn't just pie in the sky. We've seen your successes. We're hoping to realize that potential at the Olympics in short order. All right, Crift is around the corner. All right, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Run, don't walk to Le Classique on Mary Street where the final move-in sale is on. Hurry on down to Le Classique on Mary Street and do something sweet for your feet. Up to 75% off the entire store for 3 days only, where everything must go. That's right, every shoe, every bag, every wallet, everything must go. All stock priced up to 75% off. Shoes priced as low as $10 and $15. All stock priced to go. Final moving sale at Le Classique on Mary Street this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Final blowout sale. See you there.
For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and eatingclean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
This is JJ the Iceman. This is JJ the Iceman.
This is where the ride begins. A magical musical journey.
Weeknights on Radio Cayman, 8 to 10.
Music
on
Express.
Friday nights, 8 to midnight.
Music Express.
Brought to you by the Anti-Money Laundering Unit. Join the fight and learn more about financial crimes. Visit the Anti-Money Laundering website at amlu.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks. Hopeful as you listen that you will be as encouraged and you'll not only feel motivated, but you recognize that small efforts actually can have significant dividends. Coach Porter, Coach Adolphus, thanks very much for joining us. Not just as, giving of yourselves in time, but being examples. And again, just as a casual observer, right? Watching in my view, the significant success you've had in a very, very short time span. I mean, a couple of months last year and, half a month this year, and already you've seen good things. So we can see what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I was asking before the break, the vision to go forward and then potentially Olympics career. Share with us.
Well, Saturday going was just a eye opener for a lot of athletes.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bradley Erskines. He performed extremely well. Neil, he took over the part. He just separated himself. Like that's a philosophy I installed into the athletes. We're not here to compete. We're here to dominate. Because we're not looking only about Cayman. We're looking at the big stand.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica, Bermuda, Trinidad. Them athletes over there are training every day, pushing themselves every day. So we're trying to make them see that it's not going to be given to you. You have to work very hard day in and day out. So this Saturday, tomorrow, I would love a lot of people just come out and support the kids that gonna perform, because it's gonna be a lot of fireworks. So
yeah.
let's just go.
All right, for those who want to come out, that's tomorrow, right? I keep thinking Friday. Today's Friday, all right?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, so tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Right.
There's quite a few kids out there on all the clubs, not just our clubs alone, right?
Yeah, Mustang.
And there's tons of talent out there.
Mm-hmm.
And to come out and see these kids and start supporting them as a public would be huge on their egos, their self-esteem, everything. The biggest thing that stood out to me after Crifta was, if anyone attended, they know it was just extremely loud. The crowd was live. The group from the Bahamas playing the instruments and stuff. I mean, it's what you dream of. And the kids that were part of Crifta from Cayman were on such a high that whole weekend. And the following week or week after, I think it was, we came back and we had a small meet. And the kids were so depressed because they literally counted 13 people in the stands. And after coming off that big high, and and you can see it in their performances because they're thinking, well, what are we competing for, right? Because at that point, like the kids, before we separated and made this team, they weren't seeing long term. They're just thinking right this moment, right?
That's it.
And that's what they're thinking. They're like, we got no backing, right? So we're trying to change that. We're hoping. I know I spoke to the president of the association, and he's got some visions going on right now that I think the path he's looking at is going to help make some change. Hopefully, what we do will help step that up as well.
But then, is it then as we look at this whole scenario, we recognize that in today's society, we talk about immediate gratification with everything. I mean, we want that meal that our grandparents took sometimes days, right? But certainly, almost a whole day to prepare and put to the table. We want it in seconds. We want everything overnight. When it absolutely has to get to you, what a commercial is, right? But the success doesn't come overnight, in a sense. So is that a shift?
That's been the hardest thing teaching right now.
You're still trying to teach the kids that.
All right. So, but what will it take? Because this is not just a cultural shift, but it's an individual mind shift in us. You think of. We talk about the technology and transformation. The human body can go in to the surgeon and come out, and even then it takes a couple of days of recovery or whatever it is to see that thing that the physician did, right? And even then there are some potential fatal consequences. But the athlete, the student who studies, the athlete who trains, that thing that improves them is forever. It's not just fleeting. So are we able to instill that into our people, that it isn't that we're looking for the politician for the next election cycle, but it's for the country to look for the next 500 years as opposed to the next 5-year plan, for argument's sake? How do we get there?
Answer for that one.
All right. While he thinks, listen, the phone line's open if you want to share your thoughts with us. And if you think, well, I'm being a little bit too political, well, I won't just say I apologize. I'm saying, come and join me, challenge, be a part of it. Let's make this transformation that is going to improve our society, because I don't think there's anybody here who says they know everything in the blueprint of intelligence, but we want to make it better for all of us, safer, much more secure, successful, prosperous nation, economical, political, social, and the like. As we talk about, Speed Athletics Track Club, the phone lines are open, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Let me ask this question in this way then. Is it that sometimes we, collectively but we the adults in particular, we somehow separate, we don't see the connected, sort of interplay between the classroom and the sporting activity, the home and the school and the community? To me, it's all one and the same. It's a one big classroom, one big playground, it's all the same thing. You're just changing clothes and putting on different shoes. Is it then that we're seeing it in silos? We don't see it that it's the same thing. What do you think, Mr. Adolphus?
It's not that we don't see it. It's just that, like, to me, it's the parents playing a big role in the kid's life. Like a child. Nowadays, like, their entertainment is the cell phone, PlayStation, them stuff like that. But then we had gigs, kites, stuff like going outside and playing and stuff like that, But it's just a time that you have to sit down and spend with the child, not only in the classroom, but at home too. So it's just like, I've been in the school years now. From 04, I graduated. I went to
imagine
college.
Miss Susan? How long have you been to school?
It's different now.
Different now. Different better? Or could it be different and better? I mean, because some would say it's different but worse, right?
I might tend to agree with that one, because it's not just the children that's stuck on, living on their phones and everything. I mean, it's the adults too. I mean, we're all guilty of it. We've come so spoiled with the technology that, how many of us really remember a phone number anymore? When we were younger, you knew every kid's house number, and you know, you didn't. Your brain was a lot stronger at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Now we become so reliant, and it's making us lazy as a society in a lot of ways. And you know, it's not just kids. Like the parents, we go to restaurants, and I know we're guilty of it as a family too. You know, all four, my wife and my two children, we'll be talking 1 minute. Next thing you know, all four of us are on the phone at the same time. Like, we've lost a lot of connection.
Wow.
And I think all of us need to get to a point where we're able to put the phones down, separate all that, put down the games, and, you know, get back to why are you trying to achieve this in life? You know, talk to your children, you know, because the children are going to inspire the adults as well. And once they start seeing what the dreams really are, right? Because, you know, there are quite a few parents out there that don't know their children's dreams. And I think that would be an eye-opener right there. That might be the first stepping stone. Just sit down and talk.
Can I ask then, from that perspective, and I'm thinking of a conversation that I had earlier, right, when I asked this. So I'm trying to think, can I ask it in a way that I believe I heard it asked? In our society, no, I may be a little bit overly optimistic and positive in this, but I see all of this variety, the food, the people, and I see it's a beautiful thing, you know. There's this cornucopia. I mean, I see this great thing I can share in all this. I can learn languages. I can experience so much. But someone said that in that, it's becoming increasingly difficult to find common ground, to develop unity. Because if you're a national coach for football or some other sport, or if you're a teacher in the classroom for some subject or other, doesn't have that same sort of love and affinity for the children, for the society, for the people, for the history, for the heritage, for the culture, then there isn't that transference of national pride. Is that potentially one of the difficulties that we may have in? I mean, some of us can look at our leadership, whether again, you know, at the highest echelon of society, or whether it's in our civic organizations, and we look and go, well, that person really don't relate. I don't relate to that person or what have you. Now, it may not be a fair question necessarily for you guys to ask. I'm not mean to that, but again, as I look at the conversation this morning, I'm wondering, could that be part of the challenges that we have? Interesting, huh? All right, news break, Miss Susan. And gents, you got more time to share with me?
Sure.
All right, so when we come back from the break, let's do a couple of things, right? Now, just kidding. Continue to share with us. I was going to get the dominoes and we're going to play, but we need one more person to come in. Maybe someone or a good spokesman or sales team, you know, can come and share some time with us and we can have a quick 6-up. Listen, we're talking about the Speed Athletics Track Club. Very honored, very, very, very appreciative of their time, and as you guys have shared, I found it to be inspiring and motivating. Hopefully, as parents, we'll draw alongside and just maybe do one thing that you said. Put the phones on for a second and talk to our children. When we come back, we'll talk today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, you know, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure is set to spend $26 million to upgrade services in 2020. Government says focus will continue on upgraded facilities for Department of Vehicle and Equipment Services, important information technology upgrades to enhance cybersecurity and expand e-government offerings are also a priority investment in 2020. Additionally, there will be continued upgrades to the road network infrastructure across all 3 islands, including the major upgrading of east-west capacity on Grand Cayman. Good afternoon once again. I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, U.S. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley has revealed she's completely bald because of the hair loss condition alopecia. The Massachusetts Democrat told The Root that she started noticing her hair was falling out last autumn. She eventually went totally bald in December, the night before Congress voted to impeach Donald Trump. And 2 Chinese nationals in their early 20s have been found dead at the site of a 1973 plane crash in southern Iceland. Officers had not found any signs of a criminal act by a third party, adding that the bodies showed signs of hypothermia. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. The phone lines are open. If you want to join us and be a part of our discussion, certainly welcome your input. Invite you to share, to be involved, to be informed. It's all important, to make sure that we're engaged. 949-8037, or you can call us toll free with the kind compliments of Flo, 1-800-534-8255. Speed Athletics Track Club. Coach Adolphus, Coach Porter. Gents, thanks very much for sharing and managing and encouraging and nurturing and motivating. But more importantly, in being there, physically present and accounted for, so that the children not only feel safe and nurtured, but they understand that they got somebody who is loving and kind and caring and considerate that they can draw on. And that, my friend, goes a long way. That's bank, as they say. All right, but as you all are quick to share with us, it's not just the two of you, so talk to us.
All right, so the other 2 coaches that are part of the group with us is David Hamill. He's also a former national team athlete with a lot of accolades behind his name. And then we have Carl Morgan, who is still currently active, representing the national team. David, he is more concentrated on working with the mid to long distance runners of our team, and then helping with some of the overall day-to-day stuff. Ramesh here he is more concentrated in working with the strength and conditioning, and he's working with all the sprinters. Carl is more of our technical advisory is when it comes to some of the work they're doing, and then he's working with all the long jumpers and all that, in his specialty. And then myself, I'm doing all the team management, helping with the throwers and everything else that falls under this association.
But that's important. It takes many hands, to make it work. As we continue talking about it, and not just focus on the organization and the successes, but the vision. We do have a caller online. Let's go to our phones and join our caller. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I'm happy to hear that you mentioned national pride, because I noticed in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, that a lot of our athletes do not realize what it means to represent this country. The way they dress with their uniform, the hairstyles that they have, the attitudes that they have, and the total lack of respect for our national anthem. You see some of these students, athletes at sporting events, and they're just totally disrespectful.
What about us, though, who are in the stands, participating? And some of us are even more disrespectful. What?
I totally agree with you, and most people will probably recognize my voice. Being a national coach for many, many years, I do recall the 1995 Carifta team.
Oh, this Mr. Rocket. Yeah, this is Mr. Rocket.
And I am sure that people thought that I was hard on athletes, but today many of those athletes that have children come back and say, thank you for what you did.
Mm-hmm.
There was one particular young man who had his hair in a hairstyle that was not becoming of someone who was carrying the Cayman vests son jacket on, and I told him he would not be traveling with the team. We were at the airport, and his parents thought that because it was crunch time that I would allow him to go on the plane. And I told him, I said, you all have an hour and a half. Make your decision, otherwise his bags will be off. And today this young man is in our community, involved in volunteer work, and he always said that was a turning point in his life.
I think that's one of the things that are missing is that type of discipline. There's not a lot of that anymore, and that's something we're trying to change on our team for sure. That, you know, for every action there's a reaction, right?
Mhm.
So our kids have learned that, you know, if they mess up, they're getting the extra laps. We've already had suspensions on our team, you know, in the small time we're here. But that's teaching them that this isn't just do as I want. You know, there's a protocol here that you got to follow, and that's going to help them along the line. And I think a lot of things in our society, we've kind of lost connection to that. And we're hoping that we can start bringing some of that back, you know. And at the end of the day, that's only going to help prepare them for that next level. Because, you know, when they get off to college, there's not going to be any dictating that, you know, what I'm doing today. The coach can tell you, this is what you got, this is the work you're going to put in, or pack your bags, you're going back home. The same as, you know, here, you pack your bags, you're not coming back to the flight with us, you know. So I think we all need to get back to that kind of discipline.
And I totally agree, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to make those type of decisions. They want to say, well, they're the best on our team, it means a medal. But let's look at the whole athlete, not just the athletic aspect of it. What are we teaching them? Because you're the best means that no matter what you do, we're going to take you, because we need to have that medal. And I think that we need to go beyond that. Also, some of you would recall at the end of my career, if you were on that tail end, some of you,
Miss Rocket, you need to come back.
that all athletes had to participate in some aspect. I walk out on the field some days when I'm down there, and there's equipment all over the place.
Exactly.
I do recall that at the end of the season, all the athletes, I would take a barbecue grill down there, and all the athletes would sand off the shot puts, make sure there was no rust, oil them, wrap them in old newspaper, and there was teamwork, and then there was responsibility. And we are moving too far away from that, and we wonder why we are not producing a holistic athlete. Those are the reasons. Simple. We just have to go back. And we also need people who our children can identify with. And that's throughout all aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
When children don't see their own doing things, they're like, but Caymanians haven't achieved that. That's not a Caymanian. And we as Caymanians who have made it need to give back. Each one of us can attribute to some person who volunteered to help us along the way. And all of us now need to start giving back. Otherwise, I am so sorry for this country the way I see it going. And I want to congratulate you guys on what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know how you all were brought up. You know what makes a successful person, not just an athlete. Instill those values and let no one take you off your track.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks very much.
And all the best.
All the best to you
all
too,
the
Miss
best.
Rocket.
But she is, in a very succinct way, sort of put it on the table what we've been dancing around, you know.
But that's the truth. What she's being said, you know.
Yeah.
My first trap meet was at Barbados.
Mm.
Miss Rocket was there, and man, she had the whole team like not on lockdown, but it was like a whole discipline. You know, like you had to do what she said. It wasn't no because you have a friend there, you talk to that person, or you do this or you do that. No, it was like, okay, let's go. Are we going to eat now? You're going to bed now? Get up, go to the trot. You know, it was like step by step. But now, like, the kids are doing what they want.
But maybe something that she shared, and again, I don't want to make excuses for children, but I think as adults, parents, coaches, the adults, the teachers, the adults, sometimes we ourselves lack discipline.
Yes.
We don't want to set the example.
Yes.
We say, oh, do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
But the child has seen us now. I don't want to pick on my friends who, well, maybe they still call me their friend in the Legislative Assembly. But whether it's the Legislative Assembly here or whether it's the one in England somewhere, it doesn't matter. We watch what they call it, parliaments and senates and whatever they call themselves, right? They act as if they're the be all and end all, but their behavior is worse than a bunch of whatever, right? If the example of your leadership isn't there that you can look at with pride, if you see the church and the fighting, and the behavior of the whatever they call priest, pastor, or whatever, right? If the parent isn't being a responsible parent, if the principal at the school, if the adult, whatever role the adult has taken on, doesn't mean that we don't have some failure or shortcoming, because why not? We're human. Even the computer messes up, right? But if the child isn't seeing that example, then how do we expect the child to learn anything better? I mean, again, that's going to probably rub some people the wrong way and they're going to feel offended, and then tomorrow they won't buy me coffee, but that's okay. I'll drink tea instead. Or maybe some, swanky. I don't know. How do we get there as a small nation that we demand excellence and we commit to excellence? You guys have seen the success, man, because you have a protocol, you have a process.
It's just a matter of staying true to it. I mean, I think a lot of the problem lies with, some of the coaches and teachers in the education department and stuff like that. I think what it boils down to is they know what they need to do as far as reprimanding these kids, but at the end of the day, we've become a society that we want to battle everything, and sometimes your hands are a little too tied. And when these parents come at you in the way they come at you at times, is it really worth that fight? And I think that's where a lot of people have gotten to, is that it isn't worth this fight anymore, right? And it's not a matter of being bullied themselves, but in a way it is, right? And so I think it's just a matter of, like, we don't care if anyone is upset with us or certain decisions we've made. Like, we're going to teach the values of what's going to happen down the road, and we're willing to make that stand, and we know we're going to make some people upset along the way, but at the end of the day, it's going to help better the children, and that's all we want.
Let me ask a question. Is it then that, how do I put this? We look at what is happening in our society, right? And we are not willing to come and help. So we stay here and we cuss and complain and criticize. Now, would it be better received if we were there day in, day out, as much as we can, with the coaches and all of the participants trying to help, and then we see something that is not right, so we say, wait a minute now, yesterday this wasn't this. If we are actively engaged in the process, would it be easier and would it be better received when we have that complaint, that criticism, that thing, than if we were, Johnny come lately, or we were some, now and then spectator? Which one would be probably more sort of receptive to that person who's involved and saying, listen, this is what I'm seeing, I don't like it, or the person who comes in and go off on you?
It's better for the person that's more involved, because then they have more understanding of the situation itself. I mean, you can form an opinion at home without having any knowledge. Exactly.
All right. So then, with that in mind, how do we get more of us? I mean, the parent, granted, parents need a break. Parents are busy. They honestly have said, well, I can't spend 4 hours watching the child, at this track rehearsal, this, whatever that is, because I need to be at work. Granted, right? So we drop them off. But at some point, we need to be invested too. So how do we get that transference of time and commitment and involvement so that we're out there? And I don't being critical of employers, but their parents we know who reporting sessions if they still have this at school, PTA meetings, Christmas probably came and gone. Some schools had plays, at least to home, or maybe they still do. I don't know. Yeah. Right? But parents can't go because they have to be at work. Someone probably not necessarily want to go, but some that did. But the employer, the community, the demands on time, nobody has seemingly the ability to get the time to come and watch the child do whatever the child is doing. How do we get there? And how is it that we are at that point now? How do we reverse it if we are?
Well, with me, growing up, I know my mom, she had 3 jobs that she had to go to.
Mhm.
You know, like in my time was spent at home or in the neighborhood that I grew up in. So like it's better to spend time with the child now. I know like every parent have their work, schooling to do,
Mhm.
but it's best to spend the time with the child now. Get it done now because you're gonna regret it later on in life. You know,
Mhm.
that child gonna turn to his friend or look up to someone different than you.
All right. Let me then ask, is this the final break, Ms. Susan? If this is a question that we think is worth pursuing, let me ask it now, right? Arguing, debating, discussion, whatever that is it then that as a people, well, we don't know how to do that? You know, we know how to curse and blackguard and we can get up in your face and get it on, but we don't know how to openly
communicate. Yeah.
Okay. Is that one of the problems? So maybe we'll come back.
Mhm.
Is that something that we can pursue? And then, of course, now finish on a high note and say, listen, man, Speed Athletics.
Yeah, let's
hey,
go.
Hey, all right. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
2020 means perfect vision. And if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Just 2 of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Association would like to inform all members that there will be a general meeting on Tuesday, January 21st at 7:30 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall, 11 Victory Avenue, Prospect. Nominations are also now being held for the 2020-2021 Council. Transportation for the meeting will be provided as always, and there will be 3 buses from West Bay Town Hall leaving at 6 p.m. The Barnes bus route in Georgetown leaves the public library parking area at 6:45, stopping at Cayman Compass Building and the Airport Fosters. The bus marked Bobo $1 public transport and is blue in color will do pickups from British Caymanian, Uncle Bill's, Walkers Road, Shedden Road, and Crew Road. The bus from East End pickups are from the school parking, the gas station, and wreck of the 10 Sails starting at 5:45. North side pickups are from Chisholm Store and the soccer field starting at 6:15. Bottomtown pickups will be from Lorna's gas station at 6:45. Savannah pickups from the gas station next to Wendy's at 7.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Coach Remich Adolphus and Darryl Porter is the team manager. Did I get it right this time? Almost? Man. What? With seconds to spare, he's at the 3-point line. He puts it up. Did that score? Speed Athletics Track Club. Gents, thanks again for sharing us. And I'm hoping above anything else, as parents, whatever our title is of the jobs that we do, right? And I don't want to single out the politician or the principal at the school or the pastor or anybody. But if we are a parent, biological or otherwise, that's the most important role that we share. And even, it's not a parent because it's your child. You're parenting because you're coaching, you're nurturing. So if that's the role that we take on, hopefully that we take this conversation and we go into the weekend and we reflect profoundly and positively on come Monday. If not, well, no, in fact, tomorrow. From tomorrow, we make a meaningful, deliberate, conscious effort to draw alongside and engage. Right, Mr. Porter?
Correct.
There we go, man. What do you mean? And then call Miss Susan and tell you all about it later. All right. A few minutes left. Share with us before I ask more questions. But I had a question to ask earlier, but go right ahead, Mr. Porter. What I was asking, and Ramesh was telling about communication and debate and discussion and dialogue and discourse and the like. Some was not quite there yet. Some was take a while. So on. How do we do that? How do we get to that point where we strengthen despite the differences? What do we think?
Some of these questions.
Okay, so you want Mr. Dolphus, not just because he's more handsome, muscular. What are you saying, Mr. Porter? Sorry. Monday, I may pay for that. Oh, well, talk to him.
Yeah, I'm a little stumped on this one. Like, I have a different thought process for myself. Like, my father, the way he raised me, he made tons and tons of sacrifices. So, if he had to go to work, at 3 o'clock in the morning to make sure that he was off in time to go to my event, then that's what my dad did. And I can honestly say that one thing for sure, he never missed anything I did and all the sports that I played. And I'm trying to live that same kind of thing. So if I got to work around the clock and if I have to work, go to work at 6 in the morning and if I don't finish till 3 in the morning, then so be it. But I'm going to be there to support my kids. So I know that's not easy for everyone to do. But that's kind of what we have to do as parents. I mean, we have to look at it, our kids, for the most part, are only with us from birth to the 18, and then they're traveling their own path, right? So 18 years, and when we look at the big picture of our entire lifespan, it's not that much. And every year we get older, the time's going faster and faster. So it's on yourself. Like, you got to be willing to make the little sacrifice for the big picture down the road. And then at the end of the day, the kids are the next generation. These children of ours they're our legacy that we're putting forth, generation after generation. And that's how our family names carry on. So somewhere that example has to be set. And eventually these kids will learn that and they'll do the same for their kids. So
Mr. Dolphus, I mean, he said it. I tell you, man, I can see why. We passed the straw to him. But it's that sacrifice, it's that willingness to do it. In some of us, your mom, as you mentioned, 3 jobs. Many of us have mothers that have done that. Fathers who not just work long hours, but find a way. But maybe it is that the wider community, the co-workers and colleagues, the bosses, the businesses are. And equally, the community, the ethos within the community is that this is important. I love the brag. And a friend of mine says, one of the great things he likes about over there is that if there's an activity in the brag, almost the entire community comes out. Now, is it because of the size, or is it because they still understand the value of the community supporting this thing? It's a community meeting about something. It's a particular production or performance or whatever it is. It's a little. Now, we're what? 50,000, 150,000, I don't know what the number is. We're a small number of people. Right. But we're not seemingly sharing in the same vision.
Exactly.
And that's unfortunate, Coach Rocky, when she called in, she talked about the discipline that wasn't only instilled, but the example that was set by those in leadership. And there are many of us who are grateful for that, and there are many of us who say, and make all kind of, unfortunately, disrespectful and disparaging comments. But yet, how do you get that thing to be better unless you invest in it? All right, going forward, Mr. Porter, share with us any other comments you want to give with us.
Schedule.
Yeah.
All right, so going forward, we pretty much have a meet going almost every weekend, every Saturday going forward, all the way through Looking here now.
No, you better make that bigger.
Carifta is April 10th to the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much have everything going every weekend, January, February, and March, all the way through for the kids to get qualified for. Some of the older athletes will be trying to qualify to some of the bigger championships, the Olympics, for example, this year. The CUT games is this year for the younger kids. So this is a big year. So there's going to be a lot of activity out there. The association is trying to push a lot of stuff. This year, I think it's the first year in quite a while or ever, as far as I know, that we're going to Cayman Brac for a meet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming up February 1st here. So that's just right around the corner.
All right.
So that is something new. I mean, Cayman Brac travels here a lot. So the association's trying to make it now that, some of the teams here, return that love and head that way for once.
It makes sense, man. 3 islands, 1 people, man.
Exactly.
And this is how it should be. But we have... I think, Mr. Dolphus, from the outset you said incredible untapped potential amongst our people. But it's not being leveraged, nor harnessed, nor nurtured, nor encouraged.
I remember Chantal Morrison. She was a member of the Mustang Track Club under Coach Tyrone. She won the gold medal. I think it was 2000
Was it the time before last when the Crifter was here?
Yeah, the last Crifter before the one that just went. And the stadium went crazy. And the girl that came behind her was Simpson, I think it was. She won the gold medal. So think about if we had continued her path onto that same level, she would have been up there, right there with the best. But it's like we get to a certain level and then we stop. It's like, okay, then that's it. No.
Well, we see that with our musicians.
Yeah.
We see that with, and I pick up football players, but we see that with them.
We have the most talented football players here in the Cayman Islands now. We, to me, they're better than a lot of football players out there, Jamaica. But it's the time that they need to spend conditioning their body day in and day out.
All right. Gents, let's take one final call. Darryl Porter, Ramesh Adolphus, our guest. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of what's going on, but something that caught my ear just 7 seconds ago. I think it's kind of focused around the core of lack of CI participation in whatever you were referring to at the time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I think that that the root cause of that is that there is not enough promotion of whatever CI function or CI, whatever you want to call it, snowball or whatever is going on. And you've got these other things that sort of vary what you would want to be the focus on CI goals. It bears it up. So, and I think that's what's been happening actually with the CI sensitivity, CI focus over the last, I would say this is 2020, over the last 25 years.
So how do we get then, I recognize the time, but how do we get to that point where we are more focused, more willing to celebrate the national pride and the national identity and encourage more of us to realize that if this is home, this is where the bread is buttered, then we need to come out and share the slice?
Well, if you think of the term CI focus, who best to direct that kind of focus?
But then when we do, some would say very quickly, xenophobic, insular, other terms as opposed to an attempt to build national pride, to educate and invite and inform people of the wonderful talent and the promise and the potential.
Yeah, but where should the main focus be? You come back to the question. Where should the main focus be?
Tell us.
Well, I think you're in the Cayman Islands. that should give you a good clue.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are people who are directing some of these focuses who within themselves don't have the first inclination about what CI focus is all about, that's where you get lost.
Well, hopefully we won't be lost for too long. And I don't wish to...
You want to put a time frame on that? Too long?
All right. But by Monday, we'll get back on track. How about that?
You better do it clear that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Blessings to you. Hey, thanks very much. But the gentleman is always right in that sense. And maybe in the future, whether before or after Carifta, whether I'd celebrate the Olympics or whether, you know what, we're just here to remind people that success can be celebrated in many forms. And as we put the focus, as I've heard you share, on our children, not just what we want from them now, but for the values that we instill for them so that their grandchildren can still look with the same semblance of pride and expectation. In closing out, perhaps Mr. Adolphus and then Mr. Porter, any final thoughts you may want to leave, anything you want to highlight and share with our listeners, as you wish, sir.
I just want to tell the public, come out and support the kids. They really need your help. The time is 10 o'clock Saturday. Just come out in this chair, screen.
Truman Bodden Sports
Complex. Anything you want to do, just do it.
Watch me do it. Mr. Porter.
I say just everybody just start getting involved, coming out and support the kids, and hit the track with us. Be there. The kids are gonna appreciate it. They really are. And it's gonna make the world a difference of everything they see out there. They're gonna somebody that comes out and starts coming on a regular basis, you're gonna see the growth, and every team is gonna benefit from it all the way through. And get some sponsors out there, help the association, help the teams out, because growing this isn't easy. So we want to get some kids that are traveling off island and stuff. So we would appreciate every support we can get.
Well, thank you all very much, and I'm glad that you were persuaded to accept the invitation to come and share. I believe that there's many things that happen in societies, in our society, that we don't like. We wish were better. We believe, and I say this, because it's my personal belief, that if we pray about it, pray with other people, we can see it. But faith without works is dead. If you don't do something, well, you want that nice, mango at the season, but did you ever plant a tree? And to plant a tree, did you prepare the soil? Well, our children do the same thing, If we don't, well, people know what needs to be done. So, gents, congratulations again. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much for having us.
And if there's anything, however much or however little, if we can be of any value, please don't hesitate.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And to all of you who continue to invest and share and sacrifice and serve, well, please keep it up. If you have, a way to make it better, go right ahead. And I won't be political, but I say to you, if you are eligible to get registered to vote, go right ahead and do so. Because participation is the key to democracy. Until Monday, my friends, be blessed.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.